Has Spotify caught you in an algorithmic loop that has all of your music sounding like a mush made of all the things that are in your liked songs playlist? Do you fear that the TikTok Borg is making your music taste and your attention span worse? How can we find new music in the current culturally flattened landscape? Here are some of the techniques that I use for finding music that is worth sharing, worth spinning, and worth listening to in my personal time. Number 1, record stores. It can feel daunting going into a big record store with the goal of finding new music. Not just buying something that you already know about, but finding a new artist. One of my favorite bands is the band Nothing, and a story I like to tell pretty often about how I found out about them was I was visiting family in Red Bank, New Jersey, and I went to a record store called Jack's Music. I usually make a point to go to this record store every time I'm in town. Now, in their metal section, I picked up what I then figured out was the album Guilty of Everything, which is the first LP by Nothing. I had no idea that it would be a shoegaze classic. I thought it was going to be a metal record because it was from Relapse Records. I expected something in the vein of Murder Construct or Nile. What I got instead were lush shoegaze chords and introspective lyrics that made me fall in love with the genre. I turned into a shoegaze evangelist almost immediately. Finding them led me to find and see so many other bands. None of that would have happened if I hadn't bought Guilty of Everything sight unseen or unheard. So get out there, dig some crates. You can base it off the album art, you can base it off of the record label, or just go with your gut. You might be rolling the dice, but your odds might surprise you. Number 2, the radio. Who the hell listens to the radio anymore? Me, when my MP3 player dies, or if I'm bored of everything that's on my playlists. Usually college radio stations will play pretty off-the-wall music in a variety of genres, and some local stations will occasionally play local music or take requests. It's becoming more few and far between, but they're still out there. One local station here called WTMD, Total Music Discovery, plays a lot of underground gems that I think don't really get enough attention on mainstream radio. One song that comes to mind is the song Archie, Marry Me by the band Always, which wouldn't have come onto my radar if it weren't for flipping through the radio stations. Number 3, Discogs and Bandcamp. When I started DJing vinyl, I began to look on Discogs a lot more to find some music that I wouldn't usually find at local record stores. I really enjoy Discogs' search capabilities. You're able to filter things by location, by release date, by the format that it's released on if you want to look for vinyl specifically, or online releases, or niche cassette drops. It also has really robust genre distinctions, which I appreciate. It includes a lot of subgenres for different styles. In a similar vein, there's Bandcamp, which has similar abilities to narrow things down by genre, but also format and location, which I've been able to use to find and support a lot of local artists. Number 4, this one's a bonus one, and it is Spotify. Yeah, I know, this video is kind of made to push back against what Spotify does, but hear me out. There are a lot of independent curators for playlists on Spotify. Using Spotify's radio tool, you can actually use some artists that you may have found using the previous methods in this video, searching at a record store, searching on Bandcamp, and then plug that into Spotify's radio feature. And I've used that to find some other local bands that might be attached to some of the bands that I've found in the previous couple search methods, so it just kind of expands that bubble out a ring or two, which can kind of trap you in a loop of listening to the same kind of music if you're listening to the same artists over again. But if you're listening to new artists and you haven't tapped into a genre yet, it can kind of give you a groundwork to lay. So I hope this helped. Obviously, this list is pretty non-exhaustive. You'll probably find other sites, things like Beatport, to find new music. Really, it's all about getting creative and trying to use the things that we have at our disposal, because again, just kind of relying on the algorithms, relying on what's in everybody's TikTok feeds, what everybody's just kind of using as their go-to sounds, it can just be kind of samey and mushy. And I think the more you really take some agency for the digging part, like the way we used to when we go to a store and spend our allowance on that one CD that you had to hold on to for another month or two until you had a birthday or more money for another CD. Like, that's the way we used to listen to music back in the day without having everything at our fingertips. Exploring that way of taking chances on things has really kind of spiced up not only my own like DJ selections, but just kind of things that I use for my own like casual listening. So I hope that helped. As always, guys, like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't listened to my newest release, Righteous, it's out on Spotify now. A little bit of a delay going from the YouTube release to the Spotify release, but we got there. It's on all the streaming services now. So if you want to listen to it, the link will be in the description below, guys. If you have any other ideas for videos or things that you want me to talk about, just leave a comment below. Let me know what you thought. Cheers.